Hi, I'm Terah. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an overview on Cricut Design Space for beginners.
So I'm going to be joining you from the point that you would have already downloaded Cricut Design Space. How you would do that and how you would have done that is just go into your internet browser and type in design.cricut.com, download Cricut Design Space, and then here we begin. This is the screen that you would see when you are looking at it from a desktop or laptop computer. So as you can see, this is your home screen. It says home in the top left corner, and it's going to welcome you with whatever you sign in at. So that's my first name, Terah. And we're just going to go across the top here. So you've got the three little hash marks all the way to the left in the gray bar, and you're going to click into that. That's where you're going to be able to access adding like your machines and calibration and product setup and all of those things. And as you go ahead and scroll down on this left-hand side here, pretty much everything else is self-explanatory. You can click into them and it'll give you directions and help you along the way. I'm going to go ahead and click back to home screen. As you can see, the top banner here is basically just Cricut's kind of news and advertisements. So they've got their latest and greatest products and new materials and things that they're out promoting to sell. So as of March of 2022, this is the recent update and how the screen looks. Although on occasion, Cricut Design Space does do maintenance and then they do some updates and your screen may look a little bit different over time. But as of March of 2022, this is how the screen looks. And right in the middle of the screen right now, you'll see a couple little highlighted areas that say for beginners, celebrations, and everything labels. I'm guessing that Cricut's probably gonna change those up over time and maybe have different things, but things will change and update, but this is how it is as of today. And then you'll see the featured images. These are usually most recent added images to Cricut Design Space. And then you'll scroll down. The next section is My Projects. So as you create projects and you save them to Cricut Design Space, this is where your projects will be. And then the next is Top Video Playlists. This is Cricut itself. They do have some informative videos and articles that you can read. However, for whatever reason, I have found actual crafters and creators that I just connect with seem to be the best for me. So if I'm that person for you, then fantastic. If you've been finding some benefit so far in the video, go ahead and make sure you click like. It'll help spread it to other people throughout the YouTube community. And then you'll see their next little section they have here is Creative Cards, Cricut Mug Press, Iron-On, Maker Tools, and then From the Community. So I just want to say from the community is people like you and me creating projects ourselves, and we are able to actually add them to a public format where people can see what we created. We can give some directions. If some of you out there are really creative and you use different types of software where you create your own designs and then you want to share them with others, you can do that in this community sharing space. And then Ready to Make Projects. See, these are samples of projects that are already completed, and it'll give you like a full design and instructions and everything instead of kind of building from scratch from Canvas. So let's scroll back up. Now, to begin a project, I just want to show you there's a few different ways that you can go to the canvas. First of all, on your top left-hand screen, when you click those three little hash marks, it takes you back over to your big settings page, basically. As you can see, there's home and then canvas. You can click on canvas. It's going to take you to where exactly as you would think. Canvas is basically a blank page where you create your designs. And I will explain further just a general explanation of all these terms in the gray bar on the left-hand side, and I'm also going to go through the ones across the top and over to the right of your screen. But let's go back to home. I want to show you again the different ways you can get to the canvas. On your top right, you'll also see a green, it's actually a little button that you can push, and it says New Project. That will take you to Canvas as well. I'm going to go back to Home and show you another. And that is scrolling down to My Projects, and you can click on New Project. So those are several ways that you can get to Canvas where you want to design your projects from. Up in this top corner here, it says New. You can click on that when you've already have a project here, and it will ask you to save, and then you'll be able to create another project. Okay, so that's what that first one is on the left corner that says New. Let's go down to the next one that says Templates. Templates are something that will not cut. You will just use them as guides. They will not save when you save your project. They're just there for placement purposes and measurement purposes. See, it has a little t-shirt there. That's one of the most common used templates. I'm going to go ahead and click in and show you. You can also click in and select different sizes. Men's, women's, and kids. They give you the sizes, and then you can also even change the sizing from there. So templates are great, but again, they do not save when you hit save after you've completed designing your project, and they will not cut. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And I'm going to go on to the next button on the left-hand side here, and we are going to go to Projects. Projects, as you can see, when you first click in, it's giving you all categories. However, if you click into that section, you can see it'll have your projects, and then it also has all these different features that you can click into, where if you pay for the monthly subscription for Cricut Access or the annual subscription for Cricut Access, it gives you a lot of fonts and images that you don't have to pay individually for. It's basically all encompassing of a multitude of different types of fonts and images and projects that you have access to for a minimal fee monthly. Whereas if you were to purchase each individual font and file and image and phrase and text and project, it might add up quite a bit more than the actual access. But I do think that there's a benefit to Cricut Access for my crafting needs, but it might not be something that you would need necessarily, depending on how often and what you need your Cricut design space for. So as you can see, there's accessories. So this is showing things that you might use, like for a gift box, earrings. I'm thinking things that you would actually use or gift, like hair scrunchie, this little stencil bag. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click down to another category here. Cards. Look at how intricate some of these can be. And then there's also simpler cards that you can find as well. But they do have a lot of really cool different options. And this is not your only section that you'll be able to find cards in. These are completed project cards that you can actually see the 3D images that were created. Let's go ahead and move on to shapes. Shapes might seem like a category on the canvas that you might not use a whole lot, but I do want to take a second and show you some of the things that you can do with a simple shape. So let's say, for example, I click on this little square. Comes as a 2 by 2 inch little square. But if I were wanting to create a custom card, let's say, and I wanted to make a 5 by 7 card, I could actually take this little square, and I'm going to be showing you how some of these things work at the top here as I show you this sample. So you're going to unlock. You can unlock it from the actual image or unlock from here. And this is going to allow you to change the sizing. So I'm going to want a 10-inch width card so that when it folds in half, it'll actually be 5 inches. And I'm going to hit enter. And then I want it to be 7 inches in height. So I'm going to type in 7 and hit enter. Now I'm zoomed out to 25%, but if you actually were to zoom in, it's going to be easier for you to design and create. I will then use this shape to show you the next category in images. So I'm going to go ahead and click into images, and it takes you to where you can browse all images and search through everything, or if down here in this little grayed out area you see specific images that you could click, like places and travel, or professions, or food and kitchen, or parties and events. It just kind of helps you narrow down this vast amount of images that are available in Cricut Design Space. But what I'm looking for right now is a scoring line. See if that will be where we find it. Okay. So yes, I do believe this is a scoring line right here. Okay, so it says line. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my canvas. Now what you do, if you can see, wherever you click, it's green and it shows up at the bottom of your screen. I do not want these wavy lines, so I'm going to click back on them to get rid of them. I only want this line here, and I'm going to click add to canvas. And when you add it to the canvas, and you actually stretch it out, if you look at operations, it's saying score. So this is a scoring line. Even though it only said line in the description, it actually is a scoring line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on what would be my card. I'm going to stretch it out so it's going to be pretty close to the edge of my card. And I'm going to change the color of my card just so you can see this a little better. Make it pink. Okay, so you can see the scoring line now. Now we want to make sure that it's lined up right in the center. So I'm going to show you another one of these applications up at the top that you can use for Cricut Design Space. What you're going to do is you're going to click on your mouse and you're going to select over the image. Then you're going to go up to the top middle where it says align, click on that, and you're going to click on center horizontally. And there it is right in the middle of the card. So now that that's centered, I'm going to go ahead and show you the next up is to actually use an image. So let's say what's coming up next. At this time of year, St. Patrick's Day, we're going to go ahead and click on this one right here, and I'm going to click Add to Canvas. I'm doing this so that I can show you some of the other operations. So we're going to go ahead and put this onto the front here. Now let's say you wanted to cut this out of cardstock or sticker paper cardstock. There's 2 different colors in this, so it's going to cut 2 different images, and then you're going to have to place them on top of each other. So if you did not want that and you just wanted it to be one color, you can actually go over to the right hand side, which we often refer to as the layers panel, and you can click on that little green color there, and you can change it to the one that's already there. And then you could just leave it like that, and it'll cut 2 separate images of the same color. Or if you want to go ahead and go select back over it, go back up to the top left, and then you can go back to a dark color. Or let's say you don't like what you did at all. In the top left, you can click undo, and it's going to take you back to where you were. Before I get into the project that I'm working on the card that I'm using as a demonstration, I just want to show you, when you click into text, you could just type right from your screen. Their auto font that just comes as a default setting as Cricut Sans, and so you could just start typing right then and there. But also, if you click up into the font section up here, it does like a little drop down menu and it takes you to all the fonts. Now, where you do not see Cricut Access, that means that it's free fonts, and then there will also be fonts such as, let's type in Disney. Right there you can see that even with Cricut Access, I would have to pay $6.99 for this particular font. So Cricut Access doesn't always give you all access to all fonts. There will be things that you will have to purchase in addition to, especially like trademarked things such as Disney. At the top here it says All, System, Cricut, and then Kerned Fonts is something new. Kerned basically means like a script font that the lettering, instead of having to move every single letter around, it'll weld together automatically. So let's just, for example, say click into this Alyssa stencil script. As you can see, it's all together. You don't have to move letters around to bring these scripts together. Previously, before the kerning feature, you would have to take each individual letter and move them together so that they touched and then would be welded together and then cut together or write together. Let's go ahead and just kind of scroll down here. A lot of the different types of fonts. Some are things that are great for writing, some are more meant for cutting. If you can see on the left hand side, right underneath the name of the font, it'll say things like single layer cutting. And like here it says single layer cutting, writing. Like for example, this would be a great cutout font because it has the little snowflakes that would cut out of your letters. So that's super cute. I really like that. I think that's a newer font, or I just haven't noticed it before. But you can also go into, let's see, the basic cut operation. Let's see if we can click on pen. Yes, so then you could also use it as a writing font. So even though some of them might say to have them as a cutout font, that you can actually turn them into a writing font as well. Now here's a text that's really cool. It's got like a 3D look to it. This would be something that would be, I think that would be great to try with the cardstock sticker paper. If you want to unlock them, you can actually change them. You could make it kind of larger, wider. You can unlock and move around and alter the look of the fonts as well. And there's also this curved. So if you wanted to curve the text up or down, if you move it to the left, it's going to curve that text upward. If you want to curve it the other way, you're going to go to the right. This is great if you want to like create iron-ons and vinyl decals and stuff like that. And then ungroup letters, the advanced setting over here. Let's go ungroup to letters. Let's say you wanted to move them around and you wanted to do something like that and have it cut just like that, maybe for adhesive vinyl, then you can do that. Home is where the heart is. I can't even see this. I gotta zoom out. Oops. Okay, so I want to go ahead and arrow down. Now, previously, when you would type in, there would be a little box that would come up. Now, when you type, you just click and it changes it right in front of you. There's not a separate box that pops up since the latest update of March 2022. Now, what you can do when you're in this, you can click onto alignment, you can click center. I have all that centered. See how there's like a lot of spacing in there? You can also then click on line spacing and bring them closer together. So you just keep arrowing until they're nice and close to where you would want them to be. So that's how that works. So you've got your font, you've got your style, which is regular. Let's click into that. Yeah, that's not giving you another option. There might be times where you can like make a font italic or bold. And then the font sizing, you can arrow that up and down as well, or you can just grab your arrow in the corner and change and move it. This is where I wanted to show you ungroup to lines. So you can also ungroup to lines and then grab each individual line and letter and move it around as you see fit and as you would need and want to create. Okay, so I think that's pretty much some of the basics for editing text fonts. I'm going to go back to my little project that I've been working on for a sample. Let's go ahead and move on down to the next, which is the text bar at the left-hand side of your screen. And we're going to type in Happy St. Patty's. Okay, so I'm going to move that off to the side. And I am going to go up to the top here. I do not want it to be a basic cut. I want it to be a writing font. So I'm going to click into writing. And I'm going to arrow this down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another thing, and that's letter spacing. So I'm going to arrow that letter spacing in and make it just a little bit closer. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select over my image. I'm going to go up to the top right and I'm going to click Ungroup. So that's ungrouped my letters. So now I can move each individual letter around all by itself. What I want to do is I want to just move this St. Patty's part a little bit closer. So I'm going to select over it. I'm going to click group. So all those letters are together. Then I'm going to click on it and I'm going to move it just a little bit closer to happy. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to highlight over it and I'm going to group them all back together now so that they'll all move together. Since these images are actually going to be cut, we're going to move those out of the way and we're going to select over. Now I want the scoring line to actually attach itself to my card, as well as I want this lettering to be attached and written right on my card. So I've selected over everything and now I'm going to click attach. So now the wording is going to be on my card when I click make it. Other words, it would be just letters that are just right on top of your mat, which you don't want. And then the scoring will be right with it. So now I'm going to go down to phrases just to show you. Let's see, let's type in Patrick's Day again. I'm going to click on this image that says Celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So once you actually complete this part, you could flip over your card and then add this part on the inside and have it drawn on the inside. And as you can see, it's got Operation Pen and Writing. You could go ahead and go down and select whatever pen you would like to have it written with. So we'll pick a nice green St. Patty's color. Let's go ahead and change the color by going over to the right-hand side Layers panel, clicking on where it says the card where you see it. You'll see that pink color. I'm going to go ahead and change it to white. What we'll do is we will click into Make It. I'm getting the option of for Cricut Smart Material only, for any material on a mat, or multiple ways. For today, I'm just going to show you clicking on Mat. Don't actually have my machine hooked up, so I'm not going to be able to go all the way through. But you can see this would actually just draw on the mat, which we don't want. So what you would do is you would click on this section first and have this be completed, and then you can flip the card over, replace it onto the mat, and then have it right on the inside. Now, when you'd flip it over, the writing you would actually want right here. So what you can do is, if you can see on here where you'd want it centered when you put it on there, so that you can move this image over to where your card's going to be. So you're going to want that right in the middle of around the 7 and 8, and you're going to want it to be between the 1/2 inch mark and 6.5 inches. So let's click back over there. We're going to want to be around the 7 and 8, and then you're going to want to be between the 1/2 inch mark and 6.5, which is exactly where I have that placed. So when then you flip the card over, you put it back on the mat, and you hit the go button, it will then draw on the inside of the card. That is just one way to do it, just for simple example sakes today. And then after you do those two operations, then you can click on to Basic Cut, and it'll cut your image. Here you place your cardstock or sticker paper cardstock onto the mat, or you can select multiple images if you have smart sticker paper cardstock, and then you can just feed it through without a mat. And then you would click on to the next, or it might prompt you and just go right to the next mat, and then put your other color of cardstock or sticker paper cardstock, and then cut the images. I'm going to click Cancel, and we're going to go back and show you just a couple more things to give you a nice basis of a foundation of how things work in Cricut Design Space. The last option or operation that you have on the left panel is Upload. I'm going to go ahead and click into Upload. Now, how you upload an image from scratch, you would click on Upload, you would click Browse. Okay, so I've got the Cricut logo here. I'm going to click Open. I can save this image. I'm going to go to Complex, and I'm going to Continue, Remove Background, because other words, if you did not do that, let me go and revert and hit Apply and Continue, it's just going to be black. This is what would cut, just a box. This is Print Then Cut. That's a whole nother thing. We're going to go back. We're going to click Remove Background, and then it's going to give you this nice clean image. So you want to be able to see all the checkered is where you do not want things cut. And then the rest should just be your image. So we're going to click Apply and Continue. And then here we've got our nice little Cricut logo. And then we can click on that because that's what we want to upload. We can name it. I'm just going to leave it as Cricut logo, and I'm going to click Upload. So that is a way that you can upload. So I'm going to go ahead and click on to that, and then you add it to your canvas. And there it is. And I'm going to use this to show you some of the things on the top panel here. So up at the top, you see the Undo button. We've already went over that. Then you see Pen. This is not going to be a pen option or operation. This is a basic cut, but you do have different options when you're working with different tools. So you can actually click into that and select if you're going to use the engraving tool or a pen, or if you're going to use the just basic cut. They also have the wavy and perforated new tools for Cricut, so you can just easily select that there. And then you can also, just for your sake, select the color. Now, the only time color is really going to matter is when you are using pens and markers, because it will actually do a different pressure depending on the type of pen that you're using. For example, let's click into pen. Let's click into a color, and it gives you fine point, extra fine point, gel, 1 millimeter, 0.8 millimeters, marker, calligraphy. You've got all the different sizes. And then you can actually scroll down and it's going to give you infusible ink colors and options. And those are going to be, the machine is going to press down with those pens a different amount of pressure depending on what kind of pen or infusible ink marker or pen that you are using. So it is helpful in Cricut Design Space to have the correct pen selected. Especially, you'll learn that when you have the glitter gel pen, you can't write with them. Cricut has a set pressure that is so much so more than the human hand usually uses to write with, that you're not going to be able to write with these pens. The machine pressure is going to really give it that little extra oomph that it needs to do the proper writing nice and smoothly. So I'm going to go back to basic cut. So it's going to make that image solid again, and then I can make it whatever color I want, just to help me with matte color and reminding me of what material color I want to use. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep selected over this, and I'm going to do the offset button. The offset is basically kind of like a shadow. It's going to cut an extra layer of image that you can place it on. This is going to be super great to do multi-layers and make things look really extra professional and do a multi-layer image. A lot of people are using these to make cake toppers and cupcake toppers. So you can choose that curved nice image, or you can choose a sharp image. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the curved corner since it already is curved. And then you can see you can change it and make it a little bigger. When you do that, though, you can see that it's now giving me a center cutout. And I do not want a center cutout. I want it to stay and be a nice split where the C is. Okay, and then I'm going to click apply, and look at that. It gave you a whole nother layer. Isn't that great? We did the align button already. Now let's do arrange. So let's just show you the difference. So that image is in the background for that little offset shadow, but if you want to move things around, you could send that to the front, and then you have that other layer in the back. I'm going to go ahead and send it back again. I'm going to show you one thing that you could do over in the top right. Hit duplicate. Take this one off to the side because this one is nicely evenly in there, and I'm going to go send to back. And then I'm going to take this one and put it over the top. So that way you would have, like for a cake topper, you would have the C in the background as well as in the front, as long as the cardstock that you're cutting on is the same color on both sides. If you have a one-sided color cardstock, then let me show you the next tool up here. You would select on flip horizontally. It's going to cut out for you so that you can glue this on, and the side that is the pattern side or colored side of your cardstock is going to match. So it would cut this way, but then you would actually flip it back like this to glue it on the back side. So I think I've showed you pretty much everything at the top here. Let's see, rotate. You can do this right here by clicking on the right corner of the image to rotate. If you want to cut something specifically in a certain angle, or you can go up where it actually says rotate and arrow up or arrow down to rotate your image. I'm going to go ahead and I'll go over to shapes, and I'm going to click on square, and I'm going to make it big enough to be able to put my C on, and I'm going to make it white. I'm going to put that C on there. Let's go to arrange, send it front so you can actually see it. Select over it. Let's click align, center horizontally. And then we're going to select over it again, and the bottom of your screen to the right, you'll see slice, weld, attach, and flatten. We're going to use a slice button. And you're going to take that top layer off, the next layer, go ahead and delete that one, and look at that. It will cut an image right out for you. Now the one thing with slices, it will only let you slice one image at a time as of now in Cricut Design Space. So you can't put multiple images on at one time and then select slice. If you do that and it won't let you select slice, that is why at this point in time in Design Space, you are only able to add one image at a time to slice. To show flatten, I go ahead and click on shapes. Just going to make it a different color so you can see it better. We're going to go up and do the move to front. So arrange or move to back. Okay, if we select over this and we click on flatten and go to make it, it's going to actually be a print and cut. So as you can see in the upper right hand screen, it actually says print and cut. So the flatten will create a project that you can create a whole image, design, and then it'll be a print and cut file. To show the weld feature, I'm going to make a heart. I'll select over it. I'll make it a little bit bigger just for tutorial purposes. I'm going to hit duplicate, and then I'm going to go up to the top, do flip vertically, and if I wanted to make this into like a little card, I'm going to use a couple of these operations that I've been trying to teach, and then we're going to click align and we're going to hit center horizontally. And then I'm just going to move it so that they're touching just a little bit more. And then I'm going to select over them. And if you were to just simply hit attach, it's still going to cut. As you can see, there's like a little line there, and it's going to cut the image and not be one solid image for you. That's not the operation that you would want to create like a little card. So you're going to select over the image, and then you're going to click weld. And when you do that, you can see that it's nice one solid image. So that is weld. And now I want to show you contour. So let's look up an ice cream cone in images. I think that would be a good one to show. Okay, so here's one that I'm going to use. Add it to the canvas. I'm going to make it a little bigger. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to use contour just with this simple image. What you're going to do first is duplicate this image. Okay, move my little Cricut out of the way. And then you're going to go into contour, and we are going to remove the ice cream completely. So as you click on it where it's all light, that means it's not going to be saved. And then you simply just click out of the image and you can see we've just got the little cone there. Now we're going to go do the same thing. We're going to click on this image. We're going to go to contour. Okay, so we don't want the cone. We just want the ice cream part. We're going to click out and we have our ice cream, and then we can change it to like strawberry ice cream. And that's going to give you two different colors, and that is really a basic showing you how to use contour. As you get more proficient, then you'll be able to feel more comfortable doing multiple different layers and colors. So I think that has been a pretty thorough run through of just the basics. There's so much more that I could get into to give you information about the Cricut design space. So if there are specific things that I did not touch on that you have questions about, please comment in the comment section and I will create another video to be helpful for you.
Thank you so much for joining me, and make sure that you check out my next video.